Okay, we are live. Welcome everyone to this week's Q&A. I am excited to dive into some specific situations, but I won't necessarily be going into who's asking them specifically. Okay, some of the questions I got revolve around how do we transition from a circumstance kind of paradigm to a thought paradigm. So, what do I mean by this? Is in a relationship, it is natural and instinctive to make the problem be about someone else. For example, it- the reason our relationship is struggling is because of my spouse, or the reason why we're struggling is because we have to go to work. We have to work so much. But at the same time, we're missing our spouses or we're frustrated with our spouses. So let me just dive into one situation. So in this situation, the both spouses are working, and before they started working so much, they had dinners on a regular basis, and they're viewing not being able to have dinners and how much they are working as the source of the issue. So here's my question for you: can you still have a strong relationship if you're not seeing each other as much as you used to? Now, it's important to realize that the relationship you have with someone does not exist outside of yourself. Your relationship with someone exists in your head. It exists in your mind. How you feel about someone is a result of your thoughts. And if you're deployed, if you are away from each other a lot, is it still possible to maintain a strong relationship? And that all comes down to how you think about the relationship, how you think about the person. So if you find that your thoughts are drifting towards, I don't get to see them, or I don't know them anymore. I have to be away. As these thoughts start accumulating, the emotional pain starts becoming, the emotional pain starts coming. And sometimes we choose to allow ourselves to miss someone. And that's okay. But we can still have a strong relationship because if we're thinking thoughts of love, thoughts of curiosity, thoughts of understanding, thoughts of admiration. So, for example, in this case, if you're finding your schedules aren't matching up, you're missing each other, think about how these two ways that you could think of it. One could be, "Oh, we're not talking as much. We're not connecting as much. We don't know each other. What's that going to, what feeling is that going to cause?" Now, it may be true, but does the thought serve you? And the way you know whether or not the thought serves you is to look at what the feelings and the actions are doing and what result those are creating. So in this case, the thought, we don't know each other as well. The feeling could be worry. It could be anxiety. And so then what may happen if you're feeling that? You may start to feel clingy. You may start feeling that, let me backtrack. You may start, and this is the action line, the things you're doing. You could start having spiraling thoughts. You could start worrying about, what if if your spouse starts connecting with someone else away from you? The thought could be thoughts about how things should be different. It could be justifying the situation. And as you're getting emotionally upset and you're thinking we don't know each other as well, there could be barriers coming up. So you could be finding as you do have time together, there may be prone to complaining, maybe prone to, instead of spending time asking questions and saying how your day going, now how's things going, how are you feeling, trying to that connection. You may spend that time expressing worry, maybe spend that time creating distance. And so, even though the situation, our thoughts about the situation may be true, that we are not spending time together, if you look at what that's driving you to feel and driving you to do, it may not be creating the result that you want. So, try on these different thoughts instead. If you are choosing to spend time away from each other, think about why you're choosing to spend time away from each other. You could be thinking, we are both working so hard for the vision that we want. I'm so grateful for how hard my spouse works. We're not spending as much time together right now, but we can work on this. It doesn't always have to be like this, and we can figure this out. So there's a lot of thoughts we can think about a situation. And some of them are more helpful towards the result that we want than otherwise. Now, another question that was brought up is this: what if my spouse is doing something I don't like? What do I do then? Let's look at some of the possible ways we can think about this. For example, and I've used this in the course outlines, sometimes my wife will leave the diapers on the floor by the trash can until she comes back around and she puts them all in at once. Because we have 4 children in diapers, as you can imagine, there's a lot of diaper changing that happens. And generally, she only does that with wet diapers. If it's stinky, it goes in the bag, it goes in the trash most of the time. And I don't like it. I don't like diapers being outside of the trash can. It feels gross to me. It feels like, well, what's going on here? This isn't how you keep a home clean. It's not how you keep a home being nice. I can't control my wife. Can't control what she thinks. Can't control what she feels. Can't control what she does. So I have to ask myself, do I want to make the request for her to put the diapers in the trash? That's one thing. I could just ask her, hey, I don't like this. Stop it. I ask them to perform the action the way I prefer it to happen. That's one way we can go. This is I don't like it. You should change it. Those are the thoughts that's driving the feelings of disgust, of aversion, of annoyance. And generally, if I'm coming from that space, it's I'm more likely gonna be like, oh, gross. Why are you doing this? It needs to go to the trash. Can we put the diapers in the trash once we're done with them? That's gross. I can make that request. And am I showing up the way that I want to, according to my values? All right. So maybe I'm a recovering people pleaser and I want to be more assertive in my requests. And that's fine. In a partnership, in a relationship, we're able to make requests of each other. So I have to be prepared though for if she says no. If she says no, then how do I want to respond to it? And this is why in the workbook, there's a section in there. How do I want to approach disagreements? So from a faith and growth mindset, how do I want to approach disagreements with my wife? And maybe it may not be a personal value I anchor to. Maybe it's one of our family values, which is kindness, gratitude, and resiliency. So what's a kind way I can approach her? A kind way could be, first off, I may choose to go with why. There's a paradigm shift when you go from a warrior mindset to an explorer mindset. A warrior mindset is I am out to achieve an objective against an opponent. She doesn't want to put the diapers in there right away. I do. I'm going to war. And how I approach that, I'm going to come on aggressive. I could be coming on domineering, disrespectful. If I'm wearing my warrior hat, chances are barriers are going to go up, defenses are going to go up, and chances are it's going to be a conflict. Because if she wanted to put diapers in the trash can, she probably would be putting diapers in the trash can once she changed it. So that's one approach. I could approach from an explorer mindset. And this is what I personally resonate with from the perspective of faith, growth, kindness, and gratitude for my spouse. I want to come in as an explorer. This is a strange land, strange culture. I have to assume I don't understand why this is happening. I can come with a respectful curiosity. So I could approach, hey, hun. So diapers aren't immediately being put into the trash can. And I can approach, I wonder why this isn't happening. From the place of an assumption that my wife is very efficient. She likes a clean, orderly house. She's changes diapers a lot. So I know she cares about the kids. Like she's willing to change them even when they could probably last a little longer, but she's concerned about what it's like and what it's like to have a diaper that's like that. And so I assume that has good intent, that she's a good person, that she is trying to her best to love her children. I come from a place of genuine curiosity. Oh, hey, hon, why isn't this? Why are you not putting the diapers in the trash right off of the bat? And again, the place of curiosity, the objective of curiosity is understanding. And so the end result is I increase my understanding about something. And as we talked about, dialogue leads to understanding, leads to connection, can lead to healing a relationship, strengthening a relationship. And so then and the end result, what I'm looking for is understanding. It's not to get my way. The end result is understanding. And through mutual understanding, we could probably come to our zone of possible agreement. Uh, in negotiations, when you're entering in negotiations, you're looking for your zone of possible agreement. So you're looking at it's your ZPA. I think there's another technical term for it, but you want to know where is that zone of agreement. And the only way you're going to get there is through dialogue and understanding each other's values and reasonings and why what's going to happen. And is there a way that you can meet each other's values and you both can create a win? Because if you come in too demanding, outside and we're not trying to understand what our partner is trying to achieve, it may be outside of their zone of agreement. They're like, heck no, I have a process and I'm sticking to it. You can go and be uncomfortable. That's okay. You're a big boy. Or it could be down here. And they're like, no, absolutely not. Like, we need to provide a clean environment for the house. This is unacceptable. You will put that could be make demand instead of a request. And it's going to lead to, if we approach the conversation outside the zone of possible agreement, it's gonna be a conflict. It's gonna be an unresolved conflict, and it's gonna carry over and over because we don't know how to get into that zone of possible agreement where we both have a win. We may both sacrifice a little, but we have a win for both of us. And so with understanding, if our intent is to understand, you have to come from a place of curiosity and not hostility. We have to come as an explorer, not a warrior. And so when dealing with conflicts, that would be my invitation is to figure out what thought can you hold to first seek understanding, dialogue, understanding, connection, strengthening the relationship, healing the relationship. Because you can still show up who you want to be. You don't have to be walked on. But before we start making demands of a partner, because we're in a relationship, if we're not willing to be in a relationship, that's what divorce is for. But if you're choosing to stay in a relationship because you're committed, you made a commitment, you're trying to work things out, you have to find that zone of possible agreement or a zone of mutual agreement. And you're only going to do that if you come in from a standpoint of an explorer, seeking to understand what is it that they want? What is it that they value? And is there overlap? And usually there is. We develop compassion. We just have to realize we can never control our spouse's thoughts, feelings, actions. We can influence and persuade, but the more we understand what another person wants, the more persuasive we can be. So that's where I'm going to leave it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is going to be posted. Also, am recording this at this time, so I'll share the video as well with everyone. Talk to you. See you in our one-to-ones.